Another school shooting. Breaking news. It's been trending all day. It's been in the news all day. Let's talk about it. But before we get to that, family, I want y'all to click that subscribe button, click that like button, and click that little bell so you can get notifications whenever I drop a podcast. This is the LG Experience. Welcome to Podcast Talk. I am your host, Mr. LG. And I like to speak on trending topics and trending stories. And this story right here definitely stood out from the rest. Woke up this morning, looking at the news as I usually do. Here come the news flash. School shooting. It's incredible. And it's something we all heard before, and people try to come up with different solutions to solve this problem that's been going on for a long time. You have things like mass shootings, and you have things like school shootings, and then you hear about the neighborhood shootings, which you most likely hear on a daily basis, especially if you live in an urban area. In some places outside the urban area picks up the urban area news. They are very aware of the news that goes on in the urban area. And I talk to a lot of people. I talk to people basically from around the world, like really I do. And people pick up the news and they hear things about certain areas. For an example, like the CEO that got shot up there in New York City. That was worldwide news. But that happened in New York City. And they end up catching that guy. And matter of fact, I think they're going to have a hearing soon about his extradition because he got caught up there in Pennsylvania. But that's just an example of how we hear about stuff that's going on in other cities. And this story right here happened up there in Wisconsin. And things in Wisconsin can make major news and they can make world news. And this story right here is quite shocking, and it was involving a female. And we rarely hear about females going up to schools and shooting people. But again, this is something most of us, middle-aged people, millennials, we've all heard about stories like this, and it keeps coming. And it seems like they can never find a solution to these problems. And it's something I worry about as a parent because I have a son that's in middle school. And I do think about things like this, like what if something happens at their school? They got security, they got metal detectors and things of that nature. They do what they can to try to make the students safe. They be up on any type of strange behavior that's happening around at least the schools my son went to. So they do take measures to try to secure these students. But it's still something that be in the back of your mind because it can happen at your child's school at any given time in any parts of this country. But to look more into this story right here, and the police say it's a combination of factors that appear to have led a 15-year-old student to carry out a school shooting at a private Christian school in Madison, Wisconsin, but declined to share more information. Right now, everything is under investigation. This just happened. So, everything is fresh and new. So they try to gather up the most information as they can. The police department have to really go into their investigations, like come out with some search warrants and look into this person's background. But the thing that stands out again is that this is at a private school. This is at what's called a quote unquote Christian school. And when you think of Christian schools, you'll think something like a seminary or something like that, something close to that. Not quite that, but it's supposed to be a positive atmosphere. You're supposed to be in school with a bunch of Christians that's supposed to be Jesus-like. So that's incredible within itself. What would make a student go up to a private school, a private Christian school, a 15-year-old student, which I believe, which they say is a female? What do y'all think? Leave a comment. Click that like button. Click that subscribe button. Clicking the like button helps the algorithm of this podcast. This is an experience. Um, but as we go along, this shooting at Abundant Life Christian School left 3 dead, including the perpetrator. So the person who carried out the shooting is also deceased, who police have identified as student Natalie Ruppnow. Ruppnow, who also went by Samantha, appears to have died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound, police said. The other 2 dead are a teacher and a teenage student who police have not identified. I believe they identified this person, Natalie, for certain reasons, but in a lot of cases, if the student or person or victim is underage, they may not mention the person's name unless the parents or the family give consent to that. 6 people, 1 teacher and 5 students were injured. 4 remain hospitalized. 6 people all together, and plus the person that actually carried out the shooting committed suicide. And when you have people, these people do this stuff for various reasons. They have their own reasons, some of their own causes why they carry out these acts, and that's something that the police is going to have to figure out. But like I said in the beginning, it's various reasons what led up to this. Did people see the signs? Did people notice the behavior of this person, particularly her family? That remains to be seen. We got to wait till more information has come out. In the news conference on Tuesday afternoon, Madison Chief of Police Sean F. Barnes said that he would not be sharing more details about Ruppnow's motive to avoid jeopardizing the investigation. That's just protocol when it comes to the police, because whenever something just happened, the emotions be really, really high, and the police, they have protocols they have to follow. They can't give out more information because it jeopardizes the investigation. People that know information, all of a sudden they don't want to give up information, so they got to find out and get to the root of the problem. That's just how they work. LG experience. But that's what the chief said. And he asked that anyone with information about Ruppnow's state of mind, I just got to just talking about what was the person's behavior. In other words, what was Ruppnow's state of mind? Would anybody have that type of information? Who personally dealt with this person on a regular basis? What was this person saying? Because a lot of times people will speak under their breath. Sometimes they'll say stuff to people openly, but some people will talk under their breath. You have to actually catch them doing that. Like they'll say some real evil, sneaky type stuff, but they won't say it aloud. They sort of say it under their breath. It's like they talking to themselves. It's like in some cases they may want you to hear them, but at the same time they hope you don't take them that serious. So that's just how it is. So who has some personal knowledge on some of the things this person may have been saying under her breath, or just outright out loud to people. So, but Barnes said that investigators are looking at Ruppnow's social media presence. Of course, everybody, these vloggers, they do investigative work too. So I'm pretty sure they're looking at her social media page. but did not share any specific information about the teen's behavior online. Investigators are also trying to determine if Repnile was bullied. That's another thing, another cause that, especially at schools, that a student would go up there and shoot other students for bullying reasons. In a lot of cases, in some cases, they can't get their way with the teachers, an issue with these teachers. You know, so, but yeah, they didn't want to see was any was being bullied was a factor. Barnes said he did not say if anyone was specifically targeted. Everyone was targeted in this incident, and everyone was in equal danger. So whether this person got the teacher or other 6 students, in a lot of cases they may have maybe 1 or 2 specific targets, but when they do on this wide range shooting, it's like whoever's in the way, especially if they plan on killing themselves. Then you gotta look at the fact, how did this teenager get a gun? And guns are everywhere. People, I got guns. I believe in the Second Amendment. I really do. So I'm legal as far as having a firearm. But young people have access to these guns as well. They have powerful weapons they dealing with out here. It's real. So in some places, the police is not going to go. That's just a fact. That's a fact. Some places it's like Afghanistan. It's like being in the Middle East. We've seen images of kids over there in the Middle East. They carrying Dracos like it's nothing. Like they born with Dracos. That's a factor. And then you have people like this person. They look at certain events like this in the past and they draw inspiration from those incidents. There's other people that did that, the same thing. They became martyrs to the cause, to carry out these type of things, even though it may be different particular things that sparks them to do stuff like this. And it's tragic. It's something that I think all parents who have kids in school should think about. But I think that the one incident that happened that was something like this was the Columbine shootings. The Columbine, those guys, they were like martyrs to stuff like this. They like the poster child to something like this. And a lot of people that do this draw inspiration from that. It gives them power. It gives them power to see people running and scared and stuff like that. When the other person got the gun, that person got the power. So, especially if you're not prepared and you don't have any weapons. But the Columbine thing, it happened back in 1999. Back there in Columbine, Colorado. Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold. And those were the perpetrators that carried out this massacre, and then they committed suicide. So this is, to me, in my opinion, it's the poster child of this school shooting type of behavior. But you can go way back. It's a long list of school shootings that happened. The youngest ever happened back there in 2000 in Flint, Michigan, at Buell Elementary School. A 6-year-old boy fatally shot 6-year-old girl. But that is the youngest that's documented. You had one back there in 2000 in Lake Worth, Florida, Seattle, Washington, Fayetteville, Arkansas, New Orleans, San Diego, Detroit, different places. Like this stuff can happen anywhere. New York City, Grundy, Virginia, some places we never heard of. Bowie, Maryland, we've never heard of that. New Orleans again, Red Lion, Pennsylvania, Cleveland, Ohio, Cold Spring. You can even go down to the 2010s. That's just all what happened in the 2000s, and it goes all the way up. There's a long list here, for sure. So we've all heard about things of this nature. Now, I want to be clear. Even though it be casualties, not all of these shootings end up in death. Some of these people were just injured, and in some cases, people actually died. So you go up to 2010, Madison, Alabama. I got Kim folks live down there, Huntsville, Alabama. That's not far from Madison. Austin, Texas. Topeka, Kansas. Omaha, Nebraska. Back in 2011. So the list can go on and on and on. But again, I think that the Columbine shooting that happened back in 1999 is like the poster child to this stuff. They got documentaries out there. You all can go back and check some of that stuff out. So I'll click that like button, click that subscribe button. It's the LG experience as I build this podcast brick by brick. I appreciate the people that's been checking out some of my other videos. I'm getting some views here and there. I'm starting getting a few views. Now I just need to build those subscribers up. So trying to reach 10 right now. I've been stuck at 5 for a minute. And that's cool too. I appreciate that 5. And I appreciate the views I've been getting for this podcast going straight to YouTube. And every time I feel like I'm ready to get on here, I do it for you all. That's what I do it for. I do it for the audience. And I got other stories I said I want to come with. I'm definitely going to come with those stories. But this story is so gravitating and very interesting to talk about. And at the end of this podcast, I'm going to give my 2 cents. Like I said, I'm going to start doing that more often. Giving my 2 cents. And one of the things they always do when something like this happens, they start talking to these legislators, these politicians and Congress folks. And, I heard one of them talking today, and, he just flat out said it. He don't expect no type of movement from Congress when it comes to this. Because, especially Republicans, they look at it like, well, it's not the gun, it's the person that has the gun. And I totally agree with that. You're not going to get too much out of Congress. And it just become a local issue in reality. And you had kids rallying and try to protest and really try to demand change. And they may have did some little stuff here and there, but it's not enough to curb situation like this, to curb situation like this. Like literally it's not. So, what should legislators do? What the people should do in Congress? What do y'all think they should do? They're not going to ban, weapons, not in this country. People believe in the Second Amendment. They go down fighting about that Second Amendment. And you're not going to get any of that stuff from Trump, but Trump will tell you in a hot minute, it's not the gun, it's the person with the gun. That's pretty much how he would look at that stuff. But this stuff be horrendous. Even in this Columbine shooting thing, these guys had bombs with them. They planned to really do some real damage, and they did do some damage. And then what do? They killed themselves. And their cause is, they had low self-esteem. They self-esteem, and they felt like they were being bullied. That was their cause. So they got to get to the bottom of what's the cause. What's this person's cause? What sparked this person to go out, and a female on top of that, and made sure that this teacher may have been a target. We don't know. This stuff just happened, and it's going to be a couple more days, and then you got to have investigative reporters who have sources, and they'll try to find out all the information. they can. It will be documentaries and stuff probably about this story, just like it is with the Columbine story. You all can go back and look up those documentaries. They out there. I've watched them. So I remember that story very well. It was quite shocking. But it's just too much access to these weapons out here, and young people have they get the means of getting these weapons. In a lot of cases, adults help them get the weapons. They had a case up there in, I believe that was Flint, Michigan, where the parents got charged for their son going up to the school and shooting kids. But in that case, it was warning signs, and the parent chose that's the picture they painted in the court proceedings and throughout the media, that the parents neglected the kids' warning signs. And I believe that's a real thing. I believe people can skip the warning signs, like I said earlier, because a lot of things not openly said. Uh, they may put stuff on social media, but they personal folks may not be paying attention to those pages like that. And they may not pay attention to certain subtle things that's happening. I believe that. I believe that people can neglect those warning signs. And some people will actually walk up to you. If they trust you, they'll tell you what's on their mind. They'll tell you exactly what's on their mind. And you may not take that stuff to heart. You be like, yeah, right. Yeah, right. You ain't gonna do that. Whatever. Fire the next blunt or whatever. So, but the guy just sitting there telling you, hey, I'm suicidal right now. I feel like killing people. But what do you do in that moment? It's the LG Experience podcast talk. The host, Mr. LG. I will be back soon with you all. And right about now, I want to give my 2 cents. You are right about all the things you think you need to do. So don't waste time. Get started. That's my 2 cents. Peace and love. See you next time.